Hey guys, welcome back to Time Machine Scale Models. It's time for another Prostreet group build update. Now, I'm taking my time with this and I'm putting a lot of thought into how I want to do things and carry them out. And so I'm not making tons of progress. Things are still in the molded plastic color. I do have some things primed up and ready for paint. They're out in the shop right now. And but the chassis, I'm taking my time with it because there's modifications that I'm making, and there's a couple things that I've done and I want to show you. I want to pass them along to you in case you ever run into the problem. Okay, so as you can see, I had the roll cage built up. I built this up without gluing it in place because I'm doing a couple different things with the interior, and I wanted to make sure that nothing was impeding my work. So I had to make some adjustments, and I used a whole lot of tape to get fitment correct and placement correct and everything. So when I get to the final fit and finish of this thing, I shouldn't have any issues. So first off, let me show you what I've done here with the wheels. Now, as I mentioned, these are super deep, okay? Now, I had a conversation with Jerome, who his Etsy page is the Froggy Cypress, and we were talking about this last night, and I asked him for suggestions, and he says, well, I really don't know because I did them super deep and I wasn't thinking about it. He says it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for a wheel back. Okay, and you know, if you find a wheel back and you attach it on here, it's going to look like trash. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's going to look like trash. So basically what I did was I took my pin vise and I drilled a pilot hole right in the center of the wheel. Okay. Then I took a 3/32 drill bit and finished out the job. And the 3/32 drill bit is perfect, right? That's what size it was. Then I was like, okay, that's great. Now I drilled that out. How am I going to attach it? Okay. So my first thought was I have 3/32 copper rod out in my knife shop. Okay. And I was going to cut these off the end, drill into the rear end tubes, the axle tubes, and then I realized if I do that, the axle tubes are approximately 3/32 thick. I'm just going to have a blowout. All right, and it's not going to be worth the price of admission. It's just going to make for hell. So basically what I've done is, you can see this is the stock side over here, and this is the side that I've modified. Now yes, I could have cut it off, I could have glued on a new pin and all that other stuff, that's the correct size, but I didn't do that. What I did was I carved the stock pin down to a pin size that will fit the wheel. So if you carefully put a little pressure on and spin it, it will go on. Now I intend on using disc brakes, so okay. And then what you have is, it's almost like an axle cap. You know, like if you're running a floater type rear end where you unbolt the axle cap and you slide the axles out, and basically paint that up and you won't even notice it's there. You know what I mean? So I know Don over at Red Barn Models. He has purchased these wheels. I hope he sees this video and he sees how I did this, because I think it would benefit him greatly if he did it this way. Not that you have to. Everybody's got their own methods. Maybe he's even got a better way. You know, maybe he can teach me something. But that's the way that I came up with attaching them. I did it this way as opposed to gluing on another pin, because, you know, obviously it's there, it's molded in, it's not going to go anywhere unless it gets snapped off, you know what I mean? But the chances of this getting snapped off is a little bit less than one that I would glue into place, right? So, all right. So some of you guys have built these before, and I built other Prostreets with the same type of rear end setup, and they always have these devil horns back here that mount into the upper control arms on the chassis. Okay, so what I did was I shaved them down, okay, and I drilled them out, and I've used small pieces of paper clip, tiny paper clip, and they're glued into place. Alright, why did I do that? Well, I took these off because I actually want the rear end to go up higher into the car to actually lower the ass end of the car down. I don't like the stock stance of this, okay? It doesn't remind me of Prostreet, it just reminds me of, you know, jacked up in the rear end. Prostreets are a little bit lower level, more level riding than a jacked up car. So this'll be able to go up in there. I drilled these out a little bit too. So basically when I get ready to put these in, they will just go up in these pinholes, and I'll just push it up into place and glue it into place, and it'll be fine and dandy, right? All right. And I have test fit it, so it does go. It's just that I don't want it to get stuck up in there until final assembly. So now I have to go and modify this side as well. And what I did was I just took my X-Acto and I started off by shaving it down to the approximate size of this, okay? And then I just used, I think 120 grit sandpaper, and I just kept going around it and around it and around it until I got the pin size that I want. You don't want to go too extreme because you want it to slide on there firmly. You know, you actually want that tight fit. So when you do glue it into place, it's going to stay. You don't want it wobbly, okay? Hopefully that'll work. Now, the front wheels themselves are a different issue. They have pin bosses. And you know, on these, when it comes to the spindles again on these are probably, the pin size are about this size. So basically I'm going to have to figure out a different way to attach. Those might get cut and they might get pinned. But you don't want to drill them out like I did the rear end, so, you know. I will figure it out. I will figure it out. So yes, things are going slowly but surely. We've got plenty of time on this build. I was at the hobby shop today. I picked up some Tamiya Camel Yellow and TS13 Clear for the 55 Chevy 48-hour build coming up this weekend. I'm pretty stoked about that. Can't wait to see what I can do with that thing. But that is all the update that I have for you guys on the group build. Maybe I'll have one for you on Saturday. I don't know. But tomorrow, probably around 8 p.m., I will be posting a start video on that. So you guys can see me start on that. And I think the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the body parts and see what I need to do with that. And get that in the paint immediately. Alright guys, that's all I got. You guys have a great evening. I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.